So, one of the most anticipated video games of the century is the sequel to the exclusive Sony PlayStation game, which is called Spider-Man PS4. As we know, Insomniac Games, which is now owned by Sony Interactive Entertainment, they are definitely working on Spider-Man PS4 sequel. And we know it's going to be coming to the PS5. We had the PlayStation 5 reveal this week. Not the full reveal, but enough to know that it's going to destroy every single console just like the PS3 and PS4 did. PlayStation knows how to make good games. Maybe Microsoft could take some notes there. So let's get into this video. So, courtesy of my good friends over at Geek Vibe Nation, they posted an article about the rumored Spider-Man 2 plot and villains, which is cool. I will leave the link down below so you can check it out. So as we know, this game is 100% being made because it's one of PlayStation's most successful games. It also won Game of the Year, which, yeah, I know obviously awards is subjective, but it makes a lot of sense. So let's go over it. So the game details suggest no multiplayer, which, to be honest, doesn't really bother me. I'm not really that big into online player games, except for Injustice 2 or Mortal Kombat 11 at Warstu on the PS4, if you want to add me on PSN. But Queens and Brooklyn will be added to the map. Insomniac is working on some new mechanics, which will help with the lower building traversal. Now, as you know, if you have played Spider-Man PS4, the map is freaking huge. It is so darn big. Of course, what is a hero with his villains? The first game saw many classical villains from the Sinister Six. Spider-Man 2 is looking to build upon that. Rumored for the game will be Venom, who surprisingly will not be played by Eddie Brock. You know, Eddie Brock isn't the only variation of Venom. There was also Flash. He's a variation. I mean Flash from Spider-Man, not obviously Flash from the DCEU. So, as we know for the post-credit scene, it implied that Harry Osborn is going to be a variation of Venom. That doesn't really need any confirmation, because if you played the video game, you would already know that. The report claims Insomniac will make users assume that will be the case, but it might not be the direction they go in. Carnage and Mysterio will also round out the villains, and Eddie Brock is set to debut as well. Eddie is set to serve as a major player in the storyline. He has to be Venom, although specifically doesn't have to be Venom, so to speak. As we know, there are very different variations of Venom. Even Spider-Man himself has become Venom, or at least carried the Venom symbiote in some capacity. Some other cool things to note will be that add-in users can perform a web chain. With it, Spidey can chain together web zips, so when you reach a point, he immediately zips to the next, and so on. The game will also feature 3 swinging modes, which a user can set based upon skill set. Realistically, arcade and hybrid, with the names aren't finalized, their basic function seems to set in stone. Realistically is very Spider-Man 2-esque, meaning it relies on pure physics. Arcade mode offers fake assistance. Finally, hybrid combines the two for something that will feel to the PS4 entry mechanics. This all seems way too good to be true, but it might be. It might be true. Until we get a confirmation, it's always good to take this kind of stuff with a dump truck of salt. But you know, here on the channel, we say take it with a pinch of salt. So as we know this week, the PS5 stats, analytics, full specifications were revealed. And as most people are seeming to say, the Xbox Series X is much more powerful. I don't really understand that, because everyone seems to think that the best measure for any good GPU is teraflops, which realistically, if you think that both the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro had less than 2 teraflops, and both of these systems are seen to have over 10 teraflops, then that would be like, if you play God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man PS4, it's at least going to be, from a GPU standpoint, 5 times more powerful. And then you look at the memory, the random access memory. They are both using 16 gigabyte GDDR6. So they're both using 16 gigabyte basic RAM. So what makes me laugh is you look at all the specs, and realistically there isn't much in it. Yes, I know, if you've never studied architect, if you've never studied computer systems, you can't really look at it. But you just got to look really at the CPU. Okay, So really, they're both using a Zen 2 core. One's got a frequency of 3.5, one's got a frequency of 3.8. They've both got 8 cores. I mean, realistically, is 0.3 gigahertz really going to make much difference? No, I don't really care who tells you different. So from a computational point of view, neither console's really got the advantage, although you could state that PlayStation has the SSD, and SSD is going to do much more than load times. It's not just about load times. If you understand what SSD is, it is not just load times. And then you got to look at the memory bandwidth, and realistically, guys, there's not much in it. But video games, you know, PlayStation is the only console that can deliver great games. So Batman Arkham. There is a video game coming, according to an expert in the industry, at E3 this year, 2020. It has been confirmed and verified to be delayed or cancelled. In fact, it's being cancelled just like San Diego Comic-Con will be cancelled. But we do already know this is coming from a good source. And seeing as he was right about PS5, he was right about the Xbox Series X on what he said and then what happened, I'm willing to go on the record and say that I believe him. I really do believe him. I believe what he's got to say, but you've got to still take it with a pinch of salt because Warner Bros. Hasn't confirmed anything about what he said. So he had the following to say, and yes, I could have jumped on this 5 days ago, but I decided not to jump on it fast because, like, I'm waiting for a response to see if Warner Bros. Was going to officially say anything on the matter. So an industry expert, insider, Jason, who has been right about an awful lot of things in the past, and that's why I think he's got a lot more validity than content creators or anything like that, because he works in industry. He's got a verification tick, which realistically doesn't mean a lot. It just means he's a journalist. It means he works for a big company. So that's not really the evidence here. The evidence here is based on the fact that he appears to know what was going to be happening at E3. And like I said, he's been right an awful lot in the past. And he was right about the PS5 stuff. He was right about Xbox Series X. He wasn't basing it on Reddit or I've got a source of a source of a source of a source, which you don't really have any sources. So let's go over what he had to say. 11th of March. More news from me. Warner Bros. Games were planning to do an E3 press conference for the first time this year. I believe it means the first time ever. So that is interesting that Warner Bros. Were going to be there. So he said they were going to talk about the Batman game, the Harry Potter game, which is currently known as RPG. There was a leaked trailer that came out in 2018, and also the Rocksteady game, amongst others. Remains to be seen what they do now. So unofficially in LA, we were going to get information about the Harry Potter game, the Batman game, and whatever Rocksteady was working on. Now, I don't think it's the Rocksteady are working on the Harry Potter game, or else he wouldn't have put 3 things in the list rather than 2. So the Batman game is rumored to be the Batman Arkham Legacy Game 2020. I do not think what's happening in the world at the moment is going to delay this, because video games can be dropped online on PSN and Xbox Store, etc. So I don't really think it's going to affect that. I do believe they already had trailers ready to go for the Batman game, the Harry Potter game, as there was already a leaked trailer for the Harry Potter RPG game, which is going to be insane. And is the Rocksteady game? No ideas what that could be. It could be the Harry Potter game, but like I said, I don't really think that's going to be the case. It could be the Superman game. It literally could be anything. So we don't know what Rocksteady is working on. Also, Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, reveal date, and all that kind of good stuff was supposed to come at E3 this year. So they will most likely do online versions similar to what PlayStation did with the PS5 reveal. It's very interesting to go on Twitter and read what the Xbox ponies have to say. I don't like to get into this fandom war, but I do find it very interesting how they always spin the narrative on, oh, you're going back to video games, not power. But it's like, PlayStation's always been about power forever. I mean, I don't really understand this narrative, what the Xbox fanboys seem to say. So it's probably a good thing E3 was cancelled in a way, because it will stop this fandom war, so to speak. But it is going to be interesting to find out which game was really going to be E3. So was the Batman game going to be revealed? A lot of people seem to think on March the 30th, Batman Batman's birthday that they will be revealing something there. As we know, WB Montreal have been teasing things from January 2019. They've been teasing about something. The redacted logo, then we got the Batman logo, then we got the Courts of Owls stuff. So something is definitely coming. So it could still be a great year for video games. We could have the Spider-Man PS5 release, maybe. As you know, Sony have bought in some of that games now, so they own it, so it's exclusively their studio and their game, which is cool. We could have the Batman Arkham game. As we know, that's multi-platform, which is cool. Hopefully it comes to the Switch. That'd be awesome. And we could have this Harry Potter game also. And we could have a Rocksteady game, which could be anything. It could even be the Superman game that has been highly rumored for such a long time. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment. As you know, I am trying to push more video game footage news on this channel because I want to go more pop culture. Don't worry, the Marvel, DC, all that kind of stuff's not going anywhere, but I will be doing a few video game videos per week. I'm not going to oversaturate the YouTube channel with it, but when there is news, like there is today, I will be talking about some stuff. And Superman, and also Spider-Man, and also Batman Arkham, and Harry Potter, they're all pop culture based subjects. So like always, please like, subscribe, and comment. Please follow me on Twitter at WWarstu. Let's try and get to 20,000 followers on Twitter if we can, but that will be pretty hard. Also follow me on Instagram at Warstu. Also follow me on Facebook, Warstu, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.